welcome to the third video. Today I'm going to be talking about composting. So if you recall, in the past two videos, we talked about how to reduce waste at home, right? The last video talked about reducing, reusing, and recycling, and then I alluded to composting at the end, am I right? And the first video talked about how organic waste in landfills creates greenhouse gases. So what can you do? You can compost pretty much any organic material. What happens is that inside landfills, organic material will start to decompose into methane because there is a lack of oxygen inside landfills. So by instead composting your scraps at home, what happens is that you pretty much eliminate all this methane that is being produced from your behalf, right? So all that trash that you send out to the landfill, you're basically processing it yourself. And what do you do with compost at the end? It's basically like dirt. You can make a garden out of it, and that's actually our next video, where I'm going to talk to you about how you can garden at home. So why don't I take you outside, where I'm going to actually show you my composting setup. Okay, so we are outside now. And now we can do a contest on which supervillain I look like the most.
Number 1, we got Terminator. Number 2, Agent Smith. And number 3, we have Roy Koopa.
But I'm just gonna turn the camera around quick somehow. This is my composter. So what happens is that I put my food scraps inside here, and then it tumbles. So by tumbling it, what happens is that it basically mixes and aerates the compost inside it, which prevents methane from forming, and it accelerates the decomposition process as well. And this is just my greenhouse here. So you can buy one of these, or you can just make one on your own, which I'm going to show you really quick how to do. So this here is an old composter. I no longer use stuff in it, but I DIY'd this one with this old tub. And I just drilled some holes in the top. You can see there's a hole there, one there in each corner. There's some holes on the side and some holes on the bottom. So that just lets water go in and out without making everything rot inside water, which is without oxygen, which creates methane, which is the greenhouse gas. So now I'm going to show you how exactly to compost. And so it's pretty simple. So here's a little tub that always sits in the kitchen counter, and it always has food scraps. Now it's basically any food scrap except for any animal products, except for eggshells, because eggshells are a good source of calcium. So if you look inside, we've got some limes, an eggshell, some parsley stalks. There's some garlic shell, whatever, and there's some coffee grinds over there. There's a banana peel on the bottom. So what you do is you just open up the composter. If you look inside, it's just like a dark mix of food scraps, and there might be a few bugs, and that's okay. They're just doing their part to decompose this for you, and then you just pour it in. It's that easy. It's very little maintenance. And then just close it up and you give it a few spins. And that's gonna aerate it. And it's really that easy. There's really nothing to it, and all it takes is just a bit of habit in order to get your compost going. And I'm gonna talk about how to actually use your compost in the next video when I talk about gardening. So once again, I'm just going to reiterate that there are many pros to composting at home, and the only con is basically that you might have to put a bit of effort into it, but it's definitely worth the effort when you get so much out of it, not just for yourself but for the environment at large as well. So one big pro to composting is that you have your own fertilizer if you decide to grow your own crops, you know. Another pro is that you are very much reducing your greenhouse gas emissions by dealing with your waste by itself. And you're sending out much less waste when you realize that if you already reduce, reuse, and recycle, and now you compost, everything that is left is very minimal if you do it right. And now here's a cheat sheet I made that tells you how to compost. So with that, please be sure to go follow my Instagram and comment any questions if you can. If you actually buy a composter, have a composter, or need help making one or buying one, please reach out. I want as much community interaction as possible. So please be sure to do that as well. So thanks. Have a nice day.